He offers a pact of friendship to bind them forever and live together. If granted, he yearns to meet again and awaits word. He vowed he wouldn't regret it this time, determined to make their life the best it could be. Zeke sighs in relief, wipes his brow, then introduces himself and reveals he lives with a slime. A gentle figure stoops before a gelatinous creature and names it Fios. The old man observes how the slime handles the town's trash and sustains him. He praises Fios and declares the day done. An old man shuffles past crumbling shacks. 2 children mock him, declaring the garbage man has come again today. The woman pleads for him to stop before the slime strikes. He pumps his fist, declaring he could take down such a creature. The door opens. A small slime drifts beneath the table. Traveler found slimes drink tea properly when offered. At first the slime gulped it instantly, but soon matched his pace. He called the little creature cute. She envied those who had someone to truly talk with. He admitted that slimes make poor companions, but lately even walking has grown painful and stiff, and now only tea sustains him. A gentle slime rests on the old man's chest. He murmurs that at his age he's grateful. He reaches a hand to stroke it softly. A battle-worn warrior turns to Fios and softly asks if he too feels grateful. He thought his days were lonely until he discovered even a slime thrives on affection, and wished he had understood sooner. Smiling gently at Fios, he proposes they meet as tea-drinking friends tomorrow, hoping to understand each other's feelings. She whispers that she's tired, then decides to take a nap. Her eyelids flutter shut as her hand drifts limp. A gelatinous slime quivers beside the resting man on his bed. A shout jolts him awake. Urgent words demand he hurry. Officials await at the square. Rubbing his bruised head, he winces in pain, then hesitantly calls out, "Hey." He blinks awake on a cold floor, voice trembling as he stammers and whispers where he is. His voice trembles in astonishment as he recognizes Rano. Zeke blinks as Rao greets him by his childhood name Rano and teases him for a dream. He recalls Rao died in the war. He asks where Fios is and wonders who she is, only to find she's gone as his friend urges them onward. A tense hush hangs over the ruins as he recognizes familiar faces and asks, "Are they all here?" He hears most have been found, and wonders why he looks like a child. After a polite ahem, the mage conjured a swirling blaze above his hand, freezing the onlookers in stunned astonishment. A solemn decree orders every citizen to form a contract with a magical creature. The contract ceremony begins. A boy's eyes gleam at the promise of magical creature, contracts as another doubts reality, and recalls this pivotal day. Guards flank an ornate summoning circle as a captive girl trembles nearby. She grips the dagger with unwavering resolve. He warns only calm control will see them through. A sigil ignites beneath them. A young woman reaches out as a radiant bird descends toward her. An officer sneers that nothing good comes from the slums. A recruit demands, "What did you say?" The summoned creatures prove useless. Wearily the guard notes nobles with strong magic often command powerful creatures. The observer admits the soldier has a point. Even tiny flying beasts are not worthless though weak. They can scout or carry messages over long distances when used well. His turn finally comes. He flashes a bold grin, vows to surprise them all, and his friend cheers him on. He proclaims he seeks a pact of friendship to forge an eternal bond and live together, and commands them to answer his call. An electrifying blast rips through the arena, sending 2 figures reeling. An electrified tiger snarls as crackling energy courses through its frame. Villagers gaze skyward, jaws dropping at the colossal sight above. The commander warns of a charging thunder-light tiger, urges retreat, and tells everyone to ready weapons in case it goes berserk. A lone boy stands bravely as a wounded tiger emerges, its gaze locked on him. A sudden shout as the tiger's jaws snap inches from the boy's face. Behind a pillar, the knight stands frozen in disbelief. The warriors stand triumphant as relief washes over one, exhaling a long few in victory. 2 observers marvel as the boy contracts with a thunder-light tiger, a magical beast prized for its intelligence and beauty. He turns to Zeke with a triumphant grin, asking if he saw that, then proudly declares he has summoned something amazing. Her trainer calls her up next. She swallows hard and nods, voice barely steady. A vast magic circle shimmers underfoot. He looks up and murmurs, "That's right," resolve steady in his eyes. His memory says this is the moment he met Fios. If permitted, he seeks a pact of friendship. He vows to forge an eternal bond and live together. And though this dream may fade, he will understand and truly connect. He vows to live by her side, and pleads for her to answer his call. Under a blinding beam, the warrior exclaims about the light and warns another is coming, urging everyone to get ready. She stares wide-eyed as a glowing orb hovers before her. Shining orb floats before a stunned crowd as she stands firm. Figure kneels, clutching the creature in a desperate embrace. Tears brimmed as they whispered, we met again. Guards watched the slime as hushed voices sighed that hopes died. Just the weakest magic, poor thing doomed to the slums. A boy's voice trembles as he calls Zeke, breaking the silence of the ruined street. The boy lies back, cradling the curious slime above him as he murmurs well, his tone soft with wonder. He pinches himself awake and realizes it's not a dream. He gazes at the creature in his lap and wonders if it's really Fio's. They thanked it for returning, apologized for not understanding, and hugged it tightly with relief in their eyes. He lifts the slime, asking to call it Fio's again, named after the slum's benevolent goddess Alfioshant. He beams in delight. He swings the door open with a bright grin and announces that he came along too. Eyes wide, she utters errands in shock. He drops to a knee crying, "Is that really you?" And then a voice chokes, "No, any." She gasps as someone sweeps her into an unexpected embrace, eyes wide with shock. She hugs him, apologizing for how long it felt. He reminds her they met just yesterday. She admits being overwhelmed. Then denies disappointment. He smiles and says he is glad, and the slime replies it feels the same. He grins and asks to see her magical creatures too. With a determined cry, the young summoner calls forth his spirit tiger Centos to stand by his side. She calls to Shelfina as the bird lands on her arm, then beams asking if it is not pretty awesome. An eye's magic beast is unveiled as a phoenix. They learn they've been scouted as soldiers for the country. He raises skewers and beams about their advance payment, urging everyone to go all out. The others look surprised and amused. Someone asked if they would accept the offer. The young man decided to become a soldier and vowed to give something back. She admits she admires adventurers, but longs to learn healing magic. Her companion beams that sounds wonderful. She snaps that he shouldn't make that face, and he insists he's already lined up a job too. She lifts the shimmering slime, watching it wobble in her hand. His life was shaped by jealousy and regret. Accepting no one lives without regret, he vowed to cherish what he had and carry on. He knows he is not alone. With Fio's at his side, he vows to prove his feelings and treat them both to a feast next time. A shimmering blob pulses gently while the hero clenches his fists and vows just you wait. He scans the bustling market, murmuring that it should be around here somewhere. He sensed their stares but felt safe in this commoner quarter. Nobles would have banished him on sight. His bones felt young again. He foresaw no peace. A war loomed with countless casualties. As a fellow victim, he had been penniless his whole life. They long for the power to shape their future, with countless goals ahead, starting by earning enough to break free from poverty. A gentle smile softens her features as she cradles Fio's, confident that her past memories and loyalty will carry her forward. A gentle invitation calls for a return to work as the door swings open, and proprietor greets the visitor asking how they can help. He freezes in the doorway, then asks why a child is here. The boy says he came to find work. The man is struck by his youth. He's met with an apology and a door in his face, told they're not desperate enough to hire a broke kid. He pleads, "Wait, please." A youth holding a slime mentions rumors and asks if the knight is all right. The knight hesitates before inviting him in, impressed. Zeke steps into a cozy room holding his companion, sets down a cup, and introduces himself and Fio's. Orance Helfand asserts himself as chairman and demands how those complaints came to light. A reply insists that's not the point. She realized it wasn't about how she learned of the complaints, but whether she could actually solve the problem. He asked what the company did, then named Helfand Sanitary Services, Waste Management. Noise and delays sparked protests. The character declares their process remains secret, asks for the least happy district, and vows to manage the area alone. He froze in disbelief, reminding that the district needed 5 men and was already overdue. The recruit offered to take it on. She offered a single condition. He asked what it was. She said success meant triple pay. He stared, dumbfounded. He vowed to handle 5 routes alone, insisting that removing complaints would fund his plan and free staff for other districts. He suspects the nobles are scheming to lower his prices, but agrees he can handle tomorrow's collection on such short notice. He tapped the map on the district with the highest dissatisfaction. He left the timing and procedure to her, but he warns that any delay will invite complaints, and that failing to walk his talk will carry heavy consequences. She grins, clutching her plans, and vows she will not let them down. The next day at dawn in the commoner district, she hurried on, relief washing over her now that he had taken her on. She tugged at her oversized cloak, fitting for the job, as her guide reminded her she was only here for the day. Under his cloak he hopes to hide his poverty. He unrolls the map murmuring, "Let's see," and points toward the noble quarter. The cloaked figure hesitates before a pile of sacks, saying, "Here I think," and notes complaints aren't the only things piling up. A hooded figure offers a sack she hopes will fit, then surveys the growing heap, and remarks that more than complaints are piling up. A prompt came, and it was the slime's turn. The small orb lands on its larger kin and envelops the tiny world within. A giant slime bubbles as the hero watches in stunned silence. Cheering Fios on, the hero urges them forward to escape before any of the residents can catch up. He steps back in astonishment, realizing his slime companion Fios has grown far larger than before. He waits for it to shrink back down before moving on, noting it's still a little big. A hooded figure examines a crate of fallen fruit before stepping forward. Surprise flashed across the young mage's face as the blob finished its meal instantly. He praised its incredible speed. The team sinks to the ground, breathless yet proud, having finished their task swiftly, silently, and without complaint. A firm knock at the door. It opens, and a surprised voice calls out, "Oh, it's you, you're here already." Dawn breaks as a knight asks his friend what's wrong. Exhausted, he admits he's done. The knight reels as someone calls Mr. Orance. The woman bursts in, eyes blazing, demanding news about that kid. He still hasn't shown up. Then he appears greeting good morning. He asked if Medwa had taken a look, said he was already finished, and she confirmed everything had been cleaned up nicely. He reached for his cup, looked composed, and said all right with quiet determination. The shopkeeper pauses, adds one more thing, then smiles and invites the customer to return tomorrow. He lifts the helmet to his chest, beams with determined joy, and answers, "Yes, sir." He hesitates, the words "I am" linger unspoken over the crowded market. He slumps against the wall, announcing he's starving as he eyes the grilling meat. She opens the pouch, pulls out bread, and bites into it crisply. He stretches out on the grass, relieved, as he tells Fios everything went right, and they'll get by just fine money-wise. She admits the suggestion to use him was not hers, but came from Orance, and she laughs softly. He finds his new body lighter, yet weaker. Determined, he vows to train. He and Fios face busy days ahead. She hiccups with a strained between sobs, as tears streamed down her cheeks. As the carriage pulled away, companions waved, shouting they would miss her. One stepped forward with a parting gift, stunning her. She pleads for them to promise a return visit as they call out that they're leaving, teasing why she's so calm. She smiled gently, certain they'd meet again. He asked for his gift, and she agreed. Now it was Rao's turn. Zeke admits he couldn't afford a sword, so he gifts a monster dismantling knife. The boy beams and thanks him warmly. Applicants are urged to board as goodbyes linger softly. A tender voice reminds Zeke to take care. He watches the carriage disappear. He beckoned Fios forward, saying they had a meeting. A blade sliced into his pack from behind. She quietly realizes what she wants most is to get stronger after her previous life was lost to depression and wasted time. Driven by determination, he dashes past ragged huts, vowing never to walk that path again. He knows that the further north he goes, the worse public order gets. He needs to get out of here fast. He steps into the ruined hall, convinced it was around here. He peeks from behind a pillar and softly says, "Hello, excuse me." A voice breaks the stillness as a weary traveler softly murmurs gulls Abreshin San. Cold intensity fixes on the newcomer. A blade slides forward as a commanding voice demands who he is. A voice demands to be taught how to swing a sword and made a disciple, but is brusquely told scram. He stands firm, declaring he does not take disciples. The knight insists he will pay, but the vendor refuses. He offers a strange bottle, and the vendor recoils in surprise. He lifts the bottle, savors a taste, and says, "Yum, not bad at all." His friend smiles, noting he's the same with alcohol. His eyes narrow with steely resolve as he warns her she'd better be ready to endure just about anything. She declares she's chasing someone she won't abandon out of weakness or regret. He smirks, asking what woman she seeks. He hears of her fiery red hair and radiant kindness. He nods and admits he's chased that feeling, praising the boy's guts. Gulls Abreshin concedes, names the youth his sole, first and last disciple, then bids him return tomorrow. He lay hugging the slime, heart pounding, but the real journey begins today. Spear clashes midair as both warriors collide with fierce intensity. He grips the staff and shouts that mana will surge through it, urging his partner to sense it and dodge. He remembered doing something like this back then. He snapped at his foe for not using enough power and struck again fiercely. A gentle wave of nostalgia washes over her, stirring memories she thought long forgotten. A swift blade slices through the air as the warrior lunges forward. Her gloved hand grips the lever with sudden force, her eyes snapping wide as she cries, "I did it." A blindfolded figure is slammed back, tumbling through the air. The warrior sneers, "You let your guard down," how the fighter winces, "Ouch," and protests, "Hey, not fair." He reveals there was more than one stick, and channeled a bit of mana through this one, so the youth's body couldn't keep up. The mage senses solid mana and asks if she can use magic. She nods, admitting she only knows basic spells. He praises the child's performance and calls it a day until tomorrow. He exhales deeply as the creature bounces at his side. A knock at the door. As it opens, a cheerful hello greets the room. The instructor noted his growing mana sense over tea. He grinned, admitting he still had a long way to go. A concerned official warns that the north is dangerous. When asked what happened, he reveals more children have disappeared. He watched as they ignored the unwritten rule to leave slum kids alone, and thought what nasty bastards they were. His sister burst in calling Zeke's name. He asked why she'd come with no work today. She said she had a proposal. The girl's voice trembles as she grabs Zeke's arm and asks what they should do. He asked what was wrong with Lishker and Tommy. Tommy's tears spilled as she recalled how Kelly vanished at the haunted mansion. He furrows his brow at the old haunted mansion on the northern district's edge. She urgently orders Orance to watch the children. A student bursts in demanding to know what's happening as below a girl gazes anxiously and quietly tells Zeke to take care. Quietly resolved, he realizes she was worried about him and steels himself to prove they can both be fine on their own. She bursts forward, determination blazing in her eyes as she vows to find Kelly. Suddenly she collapses, her form hitting the floor in stunned silence. He winces in pain, ouch, as he sits up slowly on the cold floor, debris scattered around him. He cuts off mid-word, stuttering, then asks where he is before a sudden flash of realization, oh right. Searching the house, he found the mana so foul it clouded his senses. He invoked light fire when something struck him from behind. Two girls clutch each other in fear as a hand reaches toward them. He stands uncertain, tilting his head in confusion. She gasps his name in disbelief, Zeke Niachin. Zeke dashes in calling Kelly and asking if she's all right. Kelly's eyes light up as she whispers, "Zeke, did you come to save us?" He holds her and says that's why he came here. She trembles as she asks who he really is. Her voice unwavering, she declares her name, Lindaran Arshant Hegius. She asked if he truly belonged to the Hegius family. He nodded and pressed a hand to his forehead in disbelief. The Hegius family stood among the 4 great noble houses until they lost their heir. Their head went mad and they were cast out. Her eyes widen as she finally understands that maybe her friend was caught in the explosion and died that very day. He warned they must flee this dangerous place. She pointed out there were no windows, and they saw the exit sealed by iron bars. He emerges clutching a soft glow and demands to know why, when more children were kidnapped, only these 2 are here. They discover many were brought here and likely eaten. Saved for last as dessert, they must hurry. They call out to Fios as a slime drifts into view. Doubt stirs, can it break them free? He smiles and assures them it can. A massive lid crashes down, freezing the girls in wide-eyed shock. After the final line snaps into place, one companion gasps in awe while another hisses for silence. The boy mumbles an apology. He stepped onto the stairs, pried aside the loose plank, peered through the gap, then beckoned the others upward, urging them onward. They slip into the ruined room, and note nobodies hear their hearts pound as they agree to run while they still can. She spots the exit and breathes relief. That they made it then stiffens at a sudden watch-out as her friend leaps to shield her. A sweeping slash of air arcs past 2 figures on the rooftop. She gasps as he admits from the shadows that he doesn't know how she escaped. A sinister voice proclaims their efforts useless, then commands them back to their cell, mocking them as shitty brats. He reels in shock as he realizes the kidnapper before him is a wood mage. A sinister figure apologizes quietly that the door is closed now. Nearby, a young woman's voice trembles as she cries, "Run." He sneers at the slime, mocking what a mere slime can do with a pathetic body slam. Her voice trembles in a stuttering question of disbelief as a massive orb materializes before her. She orders the slime to get out while he roars and strikes back with furious force. A single blast sends both fighters crashing backward through the air. She winced in pain, then cried out for Zeke Nig and underran San. She summoned a burst of light energy, then cursed that one of them had escaped. He shields his eyes, crying they burn, as Kelly flees the monstrous foe, snarls, "You little asshole," a friend's alarm rings out. As she cries for help, a furious voice bellows, "You impudent brats dare defy me." She spins in shock as someone dashes toward her. He leans over amid the rubble, concern in his voice, asking. If she is all right, she groans in pain. He believes if he reaches the second floor, the roots should not be able to follow him. A voice cuts through the swirling darkness, ominously calling out, "Hey now," as shadowy tendrils writhe around him. From the stairwell, a voice demands his location. He snarls that he told him to stop running away, then crashes inside, calling here. A young swordsman grips his blade, eyes fierce with determination. He smirks at a fire iron lodged overhead, then shrugs and demands the girl's whereabouts as a companion reveals she has escaped. The skeleton curses that this is exactly why he hates dealing with brats, while the child clutches her plush. He smirks and shrugs before coldly warning that if death is so desired, he will happily oblige. Determination shining in her eyes, she calls out "Dark Ball" and hurls a swirling orb of shadow toward her foe.